Greetings, it's Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the fact that there are 42% of all prison officers now in the system who are female. This is a difficult situation, I believe, because it's a decision made by the Ministry of Justice and the Home Office in the name of what they disingenuously tell us is diversity. That's what they want, some diversity. Well, they're getting diversity now, aren't they? As they're locking up their own staff. I know I've been banging this drum for a little bit, but I was speaking today to an individual whose wife works at a prison in Lancashire, which shall be nameless, but was telling me that at the prison, which is an open prison, by the way, but mainly consisting of lifers at the end of their sentences, but the place was riddled, they said, with teenage girls acting as hostesses, effectively, prison officers. But they said that it isn't just that. Said they're coming in dressed to the nines, makeup, mascara, all the rest of it. Looking, they said to me, it looks more like a fashion parade than an actual prison uniform outfit. They're wearing strange shoes and they're just not conforming to what you would consider to be. I mean, I realise that it's something of a stereotypical outlook that a prison officer's a big, ugly-looking bastard. A bit like Neil Samworth, yeah. Or perhaps even me. I mean, I might be an ugly old bastard. Yeah, that's what you consider a jailer to be, A jailer would say things like, "You, get in your cell." But what are the hostesses saying? "Oh, would you like coffee with that? Would you like 2 sugars, my dear? Would you like to go into your cell, Mr. James," or whatever it is. All that bollocks. The idea of prison staff behaving politely to inmates is something that's been discussed for a long time, and there is no reason whatsoever, from my point of view, that you wouldn't allow inmates to be treated with a degree of respect. Because if they're not, when they go out, they're starting to go out hating the system and to a certain extent wanting revenge on that, and that's no way to actually rehabilitate anyone. But nor is allowing them to have female hostesses instead of prison officers running the jails. Whose decision is this? Well, it obviously goes right to the top, and somebody has decided that they're going to do this. But listen, they tell you that this is in the name of diversity. Right, okay. Well, what about there's a prison in Cheshire called Style. It's a prison for female offenders. You don't find male prison officers working in Style. They just don't do it. Why? Why don't they do it? I mean, on the one hand, we have the Ministry of Justice telling us that this is done in the name of diversity, that they're employing female prison staff in male prisons in the name of diversity. So why aren't they employing male prison officers in female prisons in the name of diversity? Why? There must be an answer. There must be a reason. Perhaps we could get somebody to, or a petition up. We want more male prisoners in female prisons. It'd be a bit more entertaining, wouldn't it? Then you'd start getting male prison officers locked up for having inappropriate relations with female inmates. Because we've certainly got plenty of the female staff getting locked up for inappropriate relations with male prisoners. In fact, as I said the other day, there's been 36 in the last few years. That's one a month. Yeah. I mean, if it was your daughter at the age of 18, 19, said, "I'm going to apply for a job at Strangeways as a prison officer," you'd say, listen, it's dangerous, don't do it. Not just physically dangerous, it's emotionally dangerous, and they are open to being exploited by the mature inmates who will definitely twist them round their little finger. I know they will, because they tried it on with me, and if they try it on with me, and I'm a fairly capable young man at the time, not an old bastard like I am now, but at the time I was a fairly capable, handy young lad. They'll try it on with me, then they'll certainly try it on with the female inmates, and they are doing. I mean, we've had instances where they've done cell searches and found underwear belonging to the female prison staff hidden in male inmate cells. How do they get there? I suppose, I mean, I've been walking around quite a long time. I have yet to find that my underpants remove themselves. They tend not to do that, They stay where they are. They've got elasticated waist, But female underwear in prisoners' cells. They have these little diddy mobile phones. They're only about the size of the palm of your hand. Yeah, and they secrete them about themselves. They place it in a certain orifice, by all accounts. And how do they come in? They come in by the female staff. How do they smuggle them in? I mean, you've got to start asking yourself questions like this. So as I was saying, what brought me onto this subject today was I was speaking to somebody who's connected to this particular prison in Lancashire, and they're telling me that it's rife with female prison officers who are dressing up like they're going for a fashion parade. What on earth next? All right, well, Charlie Bronson's not finished his parole appeal. He should be getting the results in the next couple of weeks. And all those who have said that they agree that this documentary that his son put out hasn't helped, I'm sure it hasn't. But really, basically, he's no longer a threat to the public, and he hasn't really been a threat to the public. I mean, how many times has he actually gone out there, started going into pubs and beating people up? He hasn't done that. He's been involved in bare-knuckle fights, which they may or may not be legal, I don't know. He once fought a Rottweiler. I don't think that's particularly good for the Rottweiler. If the Rottweiler had got its jaws on Charlie Bronson, it wouldn't have been very good for him either. But it didn't, apparently. I think Charlie won. I don't know how he did it, but he did. Anyway, that's the end of that. I'm telling you, I think he's going to get out. I really do, because he no longer poses a threat, and that's got to be the criteria, at least according to that programme on BBC. Was it Parole? I watched that. There we go. It's the song dinger, folks. Yeah. Now, I had a comment posted below. Please do post comments. I reply to all of them if I can. Yeah, and Paula, I haven't been wiping out your posts. I really haven't. If I see a post from you or anybody else, I do reply to the best of my ability. And Larry, he told me that when he heard the song dinger, he picked up his goat and ran. Well, there we go. Billy Goat Gruff. You hold the Billy Goat down, and I'm going to sing now, not a poem. Yeah. Stay where you are, Larry. And Bob, and Bod. Yeah. And Barry Smith, who's been knitting mailbags for the last 30 years. I deeply appreciate you knitting mailbags. I'm sure everybody does. Here we go. I'm going to sing to you now. And this is a song dedicated to the guy called Topple, because he's just died. Maybe he died yesterday. And this is from Fiddler on the Roof. And I'm sure you all know this song. If I Were a Rich Man. And I'm not a rich man, by the way. Some people think I am, but believe me, I am not. Oh Lord, you made many, many poor people. I realise, of course, that it's no shame to be poor, but then it's no great honour either. So what would have been so terrible if I had a small fortune? If I were a rich man, idle, diddle, diddle, dibba, 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 dum. All day long I'd beady, beady, bum. If I were a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work hard. Abba, dabba, dabba, dibba, dabba, dibba, dabba, dum. If I were a bitty, bitty rich, idle, diddle, diddle, diddle man, I'd build a big tall house with rooms by the dozen right in the middle of the town. A fine tin roof with real wooden floors below. There would be one long staircase just going up and one even longer coming down and one more leading nowhere just for show. I'd fill my yards with chicks and turkeys and geese and ducks for the town to see and hear, squawking just as noisily as they can. And each loud quack, quack, quack would land like a trumpet on the ear, as if to say, here lives a wealthy man. If I were a rich man, all day long I'd a bitty bitty bum. If I were a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work hard. If I were a bitty bitty rich, idle diddle 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 man. I see my wife, my golder, looking like a rich man's wife with a proper double chin, supervising meals to her heart's delight. I see her putting on airs and strutting like a peacock. Oh, what a happy mood she's in, screaming at the servants day and night. Get here, you lazy bastard. The most important men in town would come to fawn on me. They would ask me to advise them, like a Solomon the Wise. If you please, Reb Tevi. Pardon me, Reb Tevi. Posing problems that would cross a rabbi's eyes. Ya-da-da-dee-da-da-da. And I'd make that one bit of difference if I answer right or wrong. When you're rich, they think that you really know. If I were rich, I'd have the time that I like to sit in the synagogue and pray, and maybe have a seat by the eastern wall. And I'd discuss the holy books with the learned men 7 hours every day, and that would be the greatest thing of all. Oh, if I were a rich man. All day long I'd beady beady bum. If I were a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work hard. Lord, who made the lion and the lamb, you decreed I should be what I am. Would it spoil some vast eternal plan if I were a wealthy man? There you go. If I were a wealthy man. And believe me, John ain't a wealthy man. Get my book, I might be one day. Happy Days, Tales from the Jails.